Hello everyone, welcome to Motherhood with Favour. My name is Favour. I'm so happy you're here. First of all, I want to say thank you for clicking on my very first YouTube video. It honestly means so much to me, more than you know. I'm a first time mom and I created this channel to share my honest experience through pregnancy, childbirth, postpartum recovery, newborn care, and motherhood. I'm not here because I have all the answers. I'm here because I want to share my journey honestly. The beautiful moments, the difficult moments, the lessons I learned, the mistakes, and everything in between. So, whether you're pregnant, you're trying to get pregnant, or you're already a mom, or you simply enjoy listening to real life motherhood story, you're warmly welcome. Now, let's get into today's video. Today's video is one I will never forget because it's a story of how what I thought would be an ordinary Friday suddenly became an emergency. It all started on Thursday, the 11th of June 2026. I went for my routine antenatal appointment. That morning, before leaving the house, my baby was kicking as usual. She always been very active baby. In fact, during my antenatal visit, the doctors will always tell me she's very active because her kicks were always strong that sometimes they even made me uncomfortable. So on that 11th of June, was on Thursday, the doctor measured my baby, confirmed that the baby head was down, and told me that everything looked perfect. I left the hospital feeling happy, relieved, reassured, and that feelings. Even after I got back home that Thursday, I was still feeling my baby move normally. Nothing felt unusual. Then Friday morning, being 12th of June 2026, I woke up, I was feeling okay. I took a little walk, came back home, and I decided to lie down a little. After resting for some time, I decided to turn to another position. Then when I noticed my nightwear was soaked. My first thought was maybe my water had broken. Then I wondered if I had peed without knowing. So I touched my clothes to check. When I looked at my hand, it was blood. I immediately stood up and removed my trousers so I could see what was happening. The moment I did, a large, I just removed my clothes, a large blood poured out. For a few seconds, I did not even know what to think because I have watched videos where midwives explain, and on TikToks and online explain that you might see some blood as signs of labor. So at the point I was wondering if that's what was happening, but deep down I knew this was different. I stood there for a moment hoping it would stop. Instead, it kept on coming. That was when I had to call Oga and told him that, guy, how far I'm bleeding. At first, he thought I was joking because I'm someone who jokes, I like joking a lot. He said, stop playing. I said, no, I'm serious. I'm really bleeding. Then, thankfully, he just got to his working location, which was inside our estate where we live. As he was coming back, it started raining heavily. So, when he got home and walked in, he saw blood everywhere. The bedroom, the bathroom. I tried using sanitary pads, but within seconds, everything just got soaked. I changed to maternity pad. The same thing happened. Then I had to fold a very thick cloth, a thick polo shirt, to slow down the bleeding. Nothing worked. Everything was still very, very serious. That was when he said, let's go to the hospital. Me, I was not telling him, I cannot go to the hospital like this. Let's wait for the blood to reduce first. I could imagine leaving the house while the blood was still pouring out. He looked at me and said, no, we're leaving now. I was like, no, we cannot go everywhere. He was like, that's the problem. The problem is that you're too stubborn. How will you're seeing this large blood that you've just poured out and you're saying we should just wait. It be like something they worry you. Enter this motor, make they go. He carried my hospital bag inside the car. Then I had to use another thick cloth and a cotton to cover myself as much as possible. We drove straight to the hospital. When I got there, people were asking me, Madam, what happened? Madam, what happened? But honestly, I could not answer. I could not even answer. I just kept walking towards the maternity unit. When the nurses saw me, they kept on asking me the same question. Madam, what happened? What happened to you? Did you fall down? Thankfully, the head of maternity was around that morning. She was on night duty, she was about leaving. That was how they had to place me on bed and immediately started checking for my baby's heartbeat. At that point, they have searched for over 30 minutes plus. They could not find my heartbeat. I remember them. I remember asking them, please, can somebody help stop the bleeding? Like, let's just first of all stop this bleeding, because even when I got to the hospital, it was still pouring seriously. Like, I was still bleeding. Like, the ground was actually looking like I actually murdered somebody. Like, I was like, please, can at least let's just stop the bleeding first. But everyone was just focused on finding my baby's heartbeat. They searched and searched and searched. More than 30 minutes had gone past. They still could not find it. I was just looking at their faces, and all they were doing, they were just looking at themselves, shaking their head, looking at themselves, shaking their head. They just kept looking at one another. At that moment, I was not screaming, I was not crying. Inside my heart, I just kept praying. I kept on saying to myself, God, this cannot be happening. Like, I have carried this baby for 37 weeks and 1 day. Please, don't let this happen. Don't let this be the end. So they all stepped outside. They said, Oga, oh, can I talk to you outside? And they had to tell him that, Oga, we cannot find your baby's heartbeat though. When he heard those words, but he almost broke down. He was just calling Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Then something happened that I will never forget. Another nurse now walked into the room when they all left. I noticed she was wearing a church for the Salvation Ministry polo shirt from Glory Rain 2026. She picked up the heartbeat monitor and quietly began to search again. As she was searching, she was singing worship song. Like, after she was searching, 10 minutes had passed, she kept searching. She did not give up. The next thing I heard, she was shouting for other nurses to come quickly, like, I've seen it, I found it, I found it. That was how everyone rushed back into the room, and she said, I had found it. But it was very faint. The HOD said there was no time to waste. They quickly inserted IV line to my hand and started medication to help stabilize my baby while preparing me for emergency CS, like something I did not plan. Another woman had already been scheduled for that cesarean section that morning, but because my own situation was an emergency, they had to postpone her own because her own was booked. So everything just happened so fast. Before I knew it, my baby girl was delivered. To the glory of God, she was alive, and by the grace of God, I came out through that surgery successful too. So looking back now, I realize how quickly life can change. On Thursday, everything was normal. Then by Friday morning, I was in for emergency surgery. I'm forever grateful to God for protecting me and my baby girl. I'm also grateful to the doctors and the nurses who acted quickly. I'm also grateful to my bigger baby, my Oga, who refused me to stay home for even 1 more minute. So if you're pregnant and something does not feel right, please don't ignore it. Get medical attention as quickly as you can. Every pregnancy is different. That's what I have to tell you. It's always better to be checked than to wait. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you like to follow my journey through motherhood, postpartum recovery, and raising my little girl, I would love for you to subscribe to Motherhood with Favour. And once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care and God bless you.